Do you know how annoying it is to catch some of these legendary Pokemon? We got the ones that don't move but rather die than get caught. Or like I just said, the roaming ones where it takes you 20 minutes to find one. And if you didn't bring a Pokemon that stops them from leaving, well, good luck, because it's going to take you another 40 minutes to find them again. Now who would do that to themselves? Me, I would. So let's get started. Our first target, Suicune. Now you might be asking, why Suicune? Well, you can't catch Ho-Oh until you catch all 3 of the roaming Pokemon first. Yeah, I forgot about that. This sucks because I didn't want to do this first, but what can you do? At least we don't have to look for it as we are playing Crystal. Luckily for me, I had already beaten this game with an old playthrough I did. Don't watch it, it sucks. Subscribe though. Anyways, all I gotta do now is spend all my money on prep like Ultra Balls, Repels, and hope that my Pokemon stand a chance because most of them are muddy rocks. So we head to the Tin Tower and start our first attempt. Everything started off pretty normal. Gushers the Quagsire was doing decent damage, just enough where we can start throwing Great Balls, but that's where I quickly realized this is gonna take a while as we can barely get one shake before it pops out of the ball. But there's not much else to do as I didn't think about having Pokemon I could use to lower its health cause I wasn't thinking about it until we were already here. So as I kept throwing Great Balls and Ultra Balls, Suicune finally stopped playing around, and after using Rain Dance, it was spamming Bubble Beam, so most of our Pokemon went down after 1 to 2 moves. I did find out that Ranch, the Nidoking, could take a couple hits, so after reviving our Pokemon a few times, it was mostly Gushers and Ranch carrying this fight. After 33 minutes, it started to use Struggle, which did a lot of damage and was slowly losing HP. So if we didn't catch it within 8 to 10 Ultra Balls, then all of this was for nothing, and obviously it was for nothing as it would break out as soon as it got in the ball. We used 50 Ultra Balls and 70 Great Balls for this fight. That's ridiculous. Let's try again. This time around, we mostly used Gushers and Ranch as they could take the most hits as we kept throwing Ultra Balls at them. But of course, it refused to stay in the ball for more than 2 seconds, so getting annoyed, I thought it was a great idea to attack it some more, not thinking about how bad this could go when Suicune starts to use Struggle. And as you can imagine, 38 minutes in, it starts to use Struggle. So as I'm getting myself ready to do this all over again, we actually catch it. Honestly, I feel like I should have been more hyped when I caught it, but I'm not gonna lie, I was more like, alright, on to the next. But going back to the Ultra Balls, we used 76 of them for this fight. At this point, I'm starting to think Ultra Balls don't work how they're supposed to in this game. In total, that took 2 hours, 126 Ultra Balls, 70 Great Balls, 18 Hyper Potions, 15 Revives, and 2 encounters. Was it worth it? No. I mean, by all means, it's probably the coolest looking one out of the 3. I don't know why, but I just feel like it could be slightly better. Stat wise, it's honestly not what I was expecting. I didn't think its best stats were defense. That kind of threw me for a loop. It just looks like it would be so fast. I will say it does look pretty cool when you check your party and in battle. So now that we have Suicune, we unfortunately have to catch the rest of the roaming Pokemon, which really sucks as we pretty much got to go back and forth to the same 2 routes and hope it pops up. So whatever pops up first will be our next target. For prep, all I really did was buy a bunch of max repels, get the map because I didn't get it during the game, and make sure we had a Pokemon lower than the roaming dogs but higher than the Pokemon you could find in the grass. Other than that, I knew I should have had a Pokemon that could stop them from fleeing the battle, but I thought it'd be better to do it without it, and it's safe to say I regretted that. It also turns out our second target is Entei, and it took about 15 minutes to encounter, which felt like forever, probably because it was pretty boring to do. With Hot Dog the Piloswine, we used Takedown, which turns out to be a crit, doing a little more than half, before running away. Honestly, I'm surprised we were faster than him, but our luck ran out as a whole hour went by and we ran into nothing. He took that crit personally, it was crazy. But now that we encountered it once, we can finally look at the map and see where it's at. But I was confused as it didn't pop up for some reason, and I thought my game was acting up, but it turns out you have to go to the Pokédex and check the map from there. Oh, we got the map for nothing. After another 15 minutes go by, we ended up running into it again, but this time it left before we can attack. So I guess the first time it gives us a free turn, but after that we have to be faster than them to do anything. Another 30 minutes go by and we end up running into Raikou instead. This is my chance, let me just throw this at it real quick. Yeah, that's right, I threw a Master Ball, don't judge me. The second an hour went by and we still didn't run into Entei. I knew this was a mistake and I was not gonna do this again. So we got Raikou instead. And you know what, I lied, this one's pretty cool too, and when you check the summary, I can't help but love the animation. It just gives it such a cool look. But I will say, when you're in battle, it does not look cool at all in the slightest. It's ugly, and you know what else is ugly? This moveset. Leer, Thunder Shock, Roar, Quick Attack, are you kidding me? I mean, Suicune didn't have a good moveset either, but at least it had Bubble Beam. What are we supposed to do with this? Like, in what way does this feel legendary? To be fair though, most Pokemon in Gen 2 have terrible movesets, but this is a legendary Pokemon. Give it like Thunderbolt or Thunder, you know, like something. In total, it took no time at all since I wasn't looking for it, and Master Ball. Anyways, with that, our third target is Entei again, and after about 30 minutes, we encounter him, but as you can imagine, it breaks out of an Ultra Ball with ease. This is getting exhausting. But still being a bit stubborn, I didn't want to catch a Haunter right away, so I thought getting a Magnemite was a great idea. Terrible idea. We paralyzed it, and then 20 minutes later, when we find him again, he's just no longer paralyzed. I didn't even know that was possible. Or was I just unlucky? I tried 3 more times, but I didn't come close. Never mind, give me that Haunter. So as you can imagine, I trapped it with Mean Look and then spammed Hypnosis to boost our odds. But obviously he would wake up, and after using a couple Ultra Balls, he started doing some damage and Haunter almost died. So we could have lost the effect of Mean Look, but after healing a bit and constantly putting him to sleep, we finally caught it. It's about time. This was not worth it at all, and the worst part is, he is my least favorite out of the 3. Design wise, it's okay compared to the other 2, but my goodness, in battle, I can't even tell if it's a Pokemon. It doesn't look like Entei at all. This sucks. This took so long to catch just to have the worst back sprite of all time. And of course, its moveset is very disappointing. We got Leer, Ember, Roar, Fire Spin. You're telling me Ember is its best move? That's just sad. Its stats aren't any better. Its base attack is better than its special attack, which makes no sense since all of its fire moves are special. So yeah, I'm so over this. This took a total of 7 hours and 6 minutes, 17 Ultra Balls, 3 Hyper Potions, and 11 encounters. With that, we finally have all the roaming Pokemon, and now we can go after our 4th target, Ho-Oh. And I'm not gonna lie, I was lost for like 20 minutes trying to get there. I did change up my team a bit, and I kind of regret doing that, but that's for future me to figure out. My first attempt didn't go so well, as my Pokemon weren't doing as much damage as I was hoping it would do. Honestly, they weren't doing much at all, while Ho-Oh was doing crazy damage and then healing whenever it felt like it, so it didn't feel like we were getting anywhere. Alright, it's attempt 2, and I kind of know who to use now if I want to do damage or swap to heal, but this time it just felt worse. Fire Blast felt like it never missed, and it was practically two-shotting all of our Pokemon, and they're water ground types. How? Anyways, Sunny Day was not helping the cause, and for some reason it felt like they were always landing a crit Gust. It made no sense. After a while, all they had was Recover and Gust, so we just kept healing and throwing Ultra Balls until they started to use Struggle. And even then, he refused to stay in the ball for more than one shake. Like, he'd rather die than come home with me. And not too long after, it fainted. Ain't no way. That took 40 minutes for what? Attempt 3 was just a better version of attempt 2, but the result was the same. It struggled to the very end, and yeah, there's gotta be something wrong with these Ultra Balls. They just don't work. At this point, they might as well be Pokeballs. Alright, it's attempt 4, and I stopped playing around and got my Haunter. I tried putting it to sleep, but I didn't realize we were that much slower, so we would get destroyed. I tried reviving a couple of times and trying again, but had no luck. Well, that was a terrible idea. Looks like Past Me was worried over nothing, as Haunter is just too slow to do anything. And it looks like Ho-Oh wasn't playing either, because even though they were struggling and paralyzed, it'd rather go down again than be caught. At this point, I don't know what to do but to try again and slowly lose my mind. Okay, let's do this again. Attempt 5 was actually a bit different from the other attempts, as when we got him to half health, he didn't try to heal for some reason. So I just started throwing Ultra Balls, and I kid you not, after 3 Ultra Balls, we caught it. I was honestly so confused, speechless really, and a little mad too. I was ready to catch it as it was barely hanging on to dear life, using struggle and being paralyzed, just for it to quit 5 minutes into the fight. I didn't know what to say. I guess that's that. I will say I really do like its design. It just looks like a fighting rooster. Its stats were pretty insane though. No wonder it felt like we were doing anything. Look at that special defense stat. 205 is nuts. Its attack was a little less than I thought, considering it was doing massive damage, but it might have been the sunny day. In battle though, it looks terrible. I mean, it looks better than Entei, but it still looks very ugly. But other than that, I really like how when you want to fly with Ho-Oh, it actually shows you the overworld version of Ho-Oh instead of Pidgey, so that was a really nice touch. So even though I did enjoy catching it, it still sucked. In total, that took 3 hours and 11 minutes, 148 Ultra Balls, 15 Great Balls, 17 Hyper Potions, and 5 attempts. Somehow they just keep getting worse, and I wonder how it's gonna surprise me this time. So with that, we go to our next target, being Lugia, and of course it's not that simple, as we have to head to Kanto first and do some post game. It's not that it's hard, it's just a bit time consuming. So we face some gyms, find our way to the power plant / radio station, then actually do the post game, and once we finish up, we head back to the power plant / radio station again to give this guy the item he wants, just for my bag to be empty for some reason. Why am I not surprised? There's always something going on. I tried giving the item anyway, but it wouldn't let me, so I had to restart my game and do this all over again. Except the gyms, it turns out I didn't need to do those, but yeah, it just sucked. But once we do that, we can get the Silver Wing and leave. With that, we head to the Whirl Islands, solve another puzzle, which also took me 20 minutes to figure out, because I just kept skipping an area that I just didn't notice, and it literally takes us straight to Lugia in 2 minutes. It's crazy. Let's go ahead and do our first attempt, and we were off to a great start with Raikou. We used Spark and we were able to get them paralyzed and stop them from moving for a couple turns, as we used some Ultra Balls and we came so close, but of course it was too good to be true and it breaks out. At that point I thought I had already caught it. It was crazy. So after that, we just kept going back and forth until Raikou went down. So we had to switch up who we were using, and Lugia wasn't as strong as I thought, as our Pokemon could take a couple hits. Well, except Magneton, he went down instantly. But eventually we sent out Ho-Oh and just start blasting and healing as we threw Ultra Balls. And eventually I just stopped attacking even though they were at full HP, and just started spamming Ultra Balls like there was no tomorrow, and somehow we actually caught it. I was honestly mind blown. I thought for sure this was gonna take a couple attempts. Who knew we were gonna catch it first try? In total, that took 24 minutes, 44 Ultra Balls, and 1 Hyper Potion. This was definitely the easiest one yet, so I was pretty happy about that. Its animation is so cool as well, but I was shocked the whole time when I checked its summary and it turns out it's a Psychic Flying type. My whole life has been a lie. I was just so mind blown. I thought it was a whole water flying type. It literally lives in the water. I just don't understand. Not only that, its stats threw me for a loop as well. It's a tank with solid speed, but it's lacking power. I mean, I guess, but I definitely thought it would be the other way around. And with that, we can finally catch our last target, being Celebi. But this was a bit of a challenge. For no particular reason, I couldn't get the event to start, so I had to grab my other DS with the virtual console and beat the game and catch it from there. Also, I have no way of recording this on my computer, so I had to get creative. So if it doesn't look good, mind your business. So 17 hours and 47 minutes in the game later, we were able to start the event by getting the GS ball from the Poke Center in Goldenrod. After that, we just give it a Kurt and let him have it for like a whole day before he gives it back to us, and we take it to the Elix Forest where we start our first attempt. And I kid you not, 5 minutes in, we caught Celebi with 2 Pokeballs. I can't believe it was that easy to catch. My only problem with Celebi is that I can't see myself using this Pokemon at all. So knowing that it took me about 17 hours to go through the game again, just to look at it for 5 minutes and say how cool and throw it into the PC, kinda leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Other than that, if you stare at it for too long, it kinda looks scary. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Also, its moveset isn't the best either. It turns out Ancient Power and Future Sight is its only attacking moves by level up, which kinda sucks, but that's all I gotta say. With that, we have caught all the legendary Pokemon we could catch in this game, and yeah, some of these were really annoying to catch. Some of them were just so stubborn and rather knock themselves out multiple times than get caught, or just trying to catch a roaming Pokemon without a Haunter is brutal. So it's safe to say all 3 of the legendary dogs and Ho-Oh were really annoying to catch, while Lugia and Celebi were no trouble at all. If you like this video and want to see more stuff like this, like the video as it really helps out the channel, and if you really want to, subscribe so you know when I post new content. With that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, see ya.